Samsung, proud sponsor of Tech Busters.
Kirby Gordon is the marketing manager at Kalahari.com, and he joins me now from Cape Town to break down the battle of cities and who shops online the most and how fast they shop online, which is quite fascinating. Welcome, Kirby. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Now, these stats are quite interesting. I mean, I didn't realize that who's got the fastest finger on the pulse and who shops more and who shops on what kind of device. What have the latest figures come out from Kalahari as to the shopping habits that South Africans have online?
Well, you know, it's quite an interesting thing, and I think it really is a story of the adoption curve largely. I mean, it stands to reason that we see that the urban areas have a higher propensity to shop online. Joburg taking the lead there, 1.3 times more likely to shop online than a Cape Townian is. But what is interesting is that the speed at which people are shopping online in Joburg and Cape Town on average is a little bit slower than what we're seeing in Durban. And I think that probably speaks to an early adopter mentality in Durban. So the people that are shopping there are really kind of knowing what they're wanting to do, getting through the process and really kind of closing that deal as fast as possible. Whereas your Johannesburg or your Cape Town shopper may be a little bit more inclined to follow the trends of normal brick and mortar retail behavior.
That's quite interesting, but you say that the Durban guys are a little bit slower, but once they've decided what they want to buy, they're very quick to make that purchase. So it sounds to me like Cape Townians and people up in Gauteng, for example, are more they're analytical more on what they're buying, but the Durbanites just do that. They press the button and the deal is done. Is that right?
So that's the thing. I mean, the Durbanites have a lower propensity. There are fewer of them compared to the size of the population actually actively shopping online. But those that do are, they know exactly what they want to do. They get in, they get their goods, and they check out. They're particularly quick about it. So I think that is that early adapter kind of mentality. Either that or, they just want to head out to the surf. We can't judge them for that either.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. And I look at your stats, for example, Cape Townians are tending to use their smartphone devices more to do online shopping than any other devices, and they kind of take the lead when it comes to the adoption of shopping on a smartphone, which I find quite interesting.
So yes, I mean, this is fascinating, and it's something that we're starting to see at Kalahari.com across the board. I mean, obviously, the trends in growth of mobile traffic and mobile shopping are huge, and we really believe that that's a great deal of where the future of our business lies. But it's fascinating to watch. If we look at tablets alone, KZN is actually in the lead there with regards to the highest proportion of traffic coming off of tablet devices. But if we factor in mobile phones into that and we look at cities specifically, Cape Town's taking the lead over Jozi, which is still significant for the record. Yeah.
And it's quite interesting, and you consider the fact that Cape Townians traditionally are a little bit slower than the rest of the country. I'm just joking. That's a joke. Because for a Cape Townian...
We might take you to task on that.
For a Cape Townian, you do talk quite fast, I must say, because Cape Townians normally talk like this. But anyway, that's another issue altogether. But
I can't see the mountain.
What I find interesting, Kirby, though, is that the other smaller towns, I mean, look at Mafeking, for example, the city of Mafeking and Limpopo towns of Thohoyandou, and that sort of thing. There's quite an interest in online shopping over there. Now, I wonder if that's got anything to do with the fact that some of the products are not easily accessible in these places, and it's more convenient to shop and get it delivered to you over there. What are you finding in those remote areas in terms of shopping and what people are buying specifically?
Well, I mean, I think that is exactly it. We were taking a look at where the sort of smaller communities are, where online shopping and the popularity of online shopping is growing. And I think there are two aspects to it. One, I mean, the glory of e-commerce is what we can do is take the goods in the stores that you would find in Sandton City and put them in the living rooms of people in Pofadder or in Thohoyandou, as the case happens to be. But more than that, I think what's really fantastic and what's really driving this is the growth and penetration of mobile devices and the access that people are having to be able to shop online in these kinds of areas. So, I mean, it's great. We can get the goods to them. Payment methods are available that are appropriate, but also the access is actually there through these devices.
When do you think the tipping point is going to take place in this country? I know that it's pretty big in the US, for example, but they're predicting the tipping point in South Africa in about 3 years' time, the online tipping point. Do you think that's going to happen? How far are we away from that tipping point?
Look, I mean, we're incredibly exciting. I think there's a lot of investment taking place in the industry at the moment across the board. And I think that we really are poised. All indicators seem to be there. And we're incredibly excited. The next 3 years or so is going to be a fantastic time for e-commerce in South Africa.
We'd love to hear some of your stats, like who's your top shopper, for example, outside, excluding Toby Shapshak. But I'm sure that you at Kalahari.com have got a top shopper and what kind of stuff the top shopper does buy. But I certainly find these online shopping trends quite interesting, especially in South Africa where this market is growing, and interesting stuff. Mark and listen, Kirby, thank you very much for joining us. I've got a friend called Mark Kirby, that's why I called you Mark. But Kirby, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck, and we look forward to more stats from Kalahari.com about online shopping and where the trends are going in South Africa. They are indeed absolutely fascinating. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you. Cheers.